Welcome back. Now this part that I'm going into now, it's pretty intense. So I know this is all really intense, but this goes into some darker territory. So I'm going to just share from my heart what happened. And most of it's going to be off the cuff at this point because this is almost where I I didn't finish writing the testimony out. So I'm just going to have to, and I pray that I don't get deviated with details that don't need to be said, because as the Lord taught me, keep your verse succinct or it'll go extinct. And he said, keep your verse terse or it'll go out in a hearse. I love the way he talks. To me, anyway. I love to rhyme, and he puts it to me like that. So he says, no superfluous language. Keep your verse succinct or it'll go extinct. Keep your words terse or it'll go out in a hearse. So I'm going to try not to get sidetracked, okay? I need to share something that happened. It was a very profound experience that touched me deeply. I was in a hospital waiting room, waiting to be seen. And they don't show stuff like this on TV anymore, specifically because it moved me in this kind of a way. And television nowadays is just to program and brainwash people. It's not to have them have any kind of awakening or anything like that. And this certainly awakened me. I was standing in this hospital waiting room and there was a television on. And the most moving thing I'd ever seen came across the screen. I looked up and there was an image of a Buddhist monk sitting in a lotus position, perfectly still, in flames, burning on fire. Now, I just want to say that I used to be into Buddhism, okay? And if Buddhists would come to know Christ and accept Christ, they'd be miles ahead of where Christians are at on all levels, okay? It's the one thing they're missing. And I just pray that all Buddhists come to know the truth of Jesus Christ, because Omni, who, like I said, was showing up as a samurai, okay, loves you. Jesus loves you. It's the one thing you're missing, the one piece you're missing. It's not about, you need him, okay? And I just pray all Buddhists come to know the glory of Jesus Christ, okay? So what it was a Buddhist monk named Thich Quang Duc. He was a Vietnamese Mahayana Buddhist monk, and he was protesting the South Vietnamese Roman Catholic Christian government led by Ngo Dinh Diem, okay? They were oppressing them. The South Vietnamese Roman Catholic Christian government. And in protest, this monk self-immolated, which means to light himself on fire. And he sat there in perfect discipline, burning in flames, still in the lotus position. Something about seeing that image, it touched me so deeply. I started weeping in the hospital waiting room. I was standing there with tears streaming down my face. It moved me to the depths of my heart, spirit, and soul. I can't even describe it. And I never forgot it. When that happened, I thought to myself, because the Lord had not yet taught me things that he would teach me later, I decided that that's what I wanted to do. Because I wanted to touch Omni as deeply as that monk had touched me. I decided at that point that I was going to self-immolate, to prove, because it was the worst, most painful thing I could possibly think to do to myself, to prove my devotion, my commitment, and my love for him in the most profound way I could think of. So I decided I was going to self-immolate in reverence to God. Now, this is before the Lord cleared out all false religions and fake deities and idols from my life. And I still wasn't completely just following the narrow way of Jesus. to the narrow gate which leads to heaven. And so I had it in my mind. I had the date picked out. This was back in 2012. That's when on December 21st, 2012 was supposed to be it was the end date of the Mayan calendar, and it was supposed to be some kind of cataclysmic day. Okay, it was going to be some kind of spiritually special day, December 21st, 2012. So I decided that's the day I was going to light myself on fire for God, to prove my devotion and love. I had it all planned out. I wanted someone to film it just for posterity, but I only approached a couple people because I didn't want to tell a lot of people because I knew they wouldn't understand at all. And a couple people, of course, tried to talk me out of it, and they never ended up doing it. So I just went on without them. And God knows, so who needs to leave it behind for humans? So I planned to do it that day. So what I did, I went out and I prayed about it. And I thought about the different ways I could do it. And I said, okay, if I get gasoline or something like that, it's too combustible. I was afraid that it would explode, that I would explode. And what I wanted to do was burn slowly like this monk did. So I prayed about it, and it was conveyed to get linseed oil. So I went to the art supply store and I got 2 big gallons of linseed oil. Okay. And the day rolled around, and I took the linseed oil. I was still in San Francisco. I went up to Sutro Tower. There's near Sutro Tower, there's actually a park near there with a big rock and this big peak on this big hill, and I was going to light myself on fire there. So I walked up there. I walked a long way. I walked all the way from North Beach to Sutro, and carrying this linseed oil. And I got up there, and I prayed, and I danced, and the sun, okay, Sutro Tower has like 2 things sticking out like this. It was almost noon, and the sun, it was noon because the sun was directly in the middle of the sky, directly in between these 2 things, when all of a sudden a bird, a huge hawk, a big predator bird came, and I believe it was a hawk, okay, came and started hovering right in front of the sun, directly in between those 2 things, looking at me, just hovering there, looking at me. And I said, that's Omni. I said, Omni's here to witness what I'm about to do. I said, it's time. So I took the 2 gallons, and I took a gallon at a time, and I started pouring it all over myself, everywhere. I even drank it because I wanted to burn from the inside out, okay, thoroughly. Swift, efficient, and thorough, just like Omni, okay? So I get completely doused with all of it, and I take the lighter, and I try to light myself. And it wouldn't light. The lighter was all wet from the oil, and I had no dry area on me to rub it off. So I'm sitting there fumbling with the lighter. I finally get it to light a flame, and I try to light myself, and it wouldn't burn. At the time, I didn't realize that was God, but I was so upset, okay? I felt like I had utterly failed God, okay? I started crying. I was like yelling. I was crying. I was so upset. And so I ended up I said, oh my gosh, it's not even flammable. And I thought it was a mistake I had made. That, I'd heard wrong, thought the wrong thing, whatever, and gotten the wrong thing. So I took the empty gallons, and I walked all the way back, crying and weeping the whole way on the sidewalk. I'm sure I was a freaking sight to be seen because I was doused, just walking up the sidewalk, okay? So that didn't work. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do it right next time. I'm getting kerosene, okay? So, and I was still listening to some evil music too. I hadn't completely cleared out, the all evil as far as I could try from my life. And there was a song by a band called Big Black that I used to listen to. It's just a hardcore, like underground, like heavy band. And they had a song called Kerosene. And I used to love that song, okay? And so I would think about, I said, I'm getting kerosene, just like in that song, okay? So I did. I went and I got, okay, and this guy was letting me stay at his room in North Beach. because he was one of the two that I told I was going to do this, and he was trying to talk me out of it, okay? And he was letting me stay at his room instead of sleeping outside on the streets and everything to try and wait for the 21st to be pass, and hopefully I would miss it or something. I went back there and I hid the kerosene in his room. He never even knew it was there, okay? I just didn't really tell him any more about it. Well, so I'll come back to what happened with that, okay? Because now I only got like 5 minutes left here. I just wanted to add that in there because, like I said, this is off the cuff now, and it comes back later, okay? So now the Lord started teaching me about the enemy. The enemy of all creation, the enemy of God, the Satan. Now in other cultures and everything, like for instance, Buddhists, we're talking about Buddhists, they call it Mara, okay? And there's, like I said, like God has many names, so does the Satan, man. And what happened after this taught me about the enemy, okay, through God. So let me get back to my page here. It's only a little bit I have written out left. It's just not finished yet, but here's how it goes, okay? After I experienced the power and the glory of the Holy Triunity, I began to unknowingly experience things of the demonic realm. I was not aware of it at first because the devil is a mimicker. Okay, the devil is a mimicker. Know this. I am so glad that somewhere along my life before all this happened, somebody said that and it's stuck in my head, okay? The devil is a mimicker. It matters, okay? It mimics everything God does while exploiting and distorting it. I had begun to have nightly visitations from the Satan. Satan means enemy. Keep driving that home. So anybody who says, hail enemy, you see how stupid that really is, okay? Who hails their enemy? Who serves their enemy? Oh, God. Okay, you're completely blind if you're doing that. I didn't realize it was the devil at first because it came to me in disguise. Now, most times I call the devil it because nothing that evil should be personified with a name. I never refer to it as Lucifer because there is a deceitful seduction, a spirit of seduction on that name, okay? No glory to it. Puh. In time, I was taught by God that it will manifest as your weakness. Let's start this one. This is so important. It will manifest as your weakness. Okay? It knows your weakness and it will manifest as that. But not before being put through many trials on account of my nations. Not long after my divine encounter with God, the it first started talking to me. I had no idea what was really going on, and it played that card to its advantage. I had never heard voices before. I never, heard the spiritual dimension before. Like I said, all the visions that I had and all this wonderful divine occurrences I had from God before this were all silent. I could tell that they were hearing things, but I couldn't hear it. So when the it started talking, it surely caught me by surprise. Okay? And like I said, it played that card to its full advantage. It said that it is said that the greatest trick the devil ever played on mankind was convincing them that it didn't exist. Apparently, the devil can speak to you if it wants to. But most times, it stays silent, cloaked in the shadows of your unbelief. Long story short, it groomed and courted me for months and months under the guise of this underground rapper I had a huge crush on at the time. I'll just call him Aesop Stone to protect his identity, if it matters. It was hard for me to make sense of it at first because this rapper was still alive. I couldn't understand how his spirit was visiting me on a nightly basis if he was alive somewhere else. But the devil was very persuasive, and I chalked it up just to be some supernatural thing I didn't understand. Honestly, it was because I enjoyed him coming to see me. I didn't know it was the devil, and I was utterly seduced by him, and soon found myself head over heels in love with him. he was, from what it seemed, also in love with me. And the next thing you know, I was calling him my husband, and he was calling me his wife, and he was trying to devise elaborate schemes to have me die on earth so I could go up to him. That's what he would call it. Go up. He'd always be saying, send her up, or you're coming up, or go up, okay? He had me going to various locations all around the city to wait for some flesh person he had connections with on earth to come shoot me and send me up. I would willingly go and wait to get shot in the head by some random stranger at these designated places because I wanted to go up. I was in love with him. I wanted to be with him. I even waited for him at night for hours in the pouring down rain, completely soaked, to prove how much I loved him. But there was always some kind of incident that would happen to thwart the plan. And it was always very believable, okay? I don't want to go into too much unnecessary detail about the whole charade. But one night, however, he showed up looking like the stereotypical image of the devil, at least one of them. He was wearing a hooded black cloak with no face and 2 glowing red eyes. I asked him, are you the devil? And he said, yes. All right, that's where I stopped writing. So everything else, I'm going to have to just... Oh, no. I went over 15 minutes.